Five common myths about famous landmarks. Number 5. The architects of St. Basils Cathedral were blinded. Situated inside Moscow's Red Square, St. Basils Cathedral has tall towers and multicolored spirals that wouldn't look out of place in a Disney cartoon. It has been designated a World Heritage Site by the history nerds at UNESCO. The cathedral was built from 1555 v 561 under orders from Ivan the Terrible, and apparently the architects did a pretty good job. Legend has it that Ivan the Terrible blinded them afterwards so that they could never design anything better. However, records show that a quarter of a century later and 4 years after Ivan's death they were employed again to add an extension to the cathedral. This is an unlikely feat for blind architects, unless they had some particularly clever seeing eye dogs. Maybe this Ivan guy wasn't so terrible after all. Number 4. Buckingham Palace is the official residence of the Queen of England. Maybe you're wondering how your old pal the Queen is doing, and feel like popping in for some tea and a crumpet. Of course you won't need to look up her residence, because everybody knows it, Buckingham Palace, right? Sort of. Sure, Her Royal Highness may technically live at Buckingham Palace, but she's clearly slightly embarrassed by this fact as she continues to call St. James's Palace her official place of residence, as it has been for British sovereigns for over 400 years. It was built by Henry VIII between 1531 and 1536, and was where British royalty lived until 1837. When Queen Victoria took the throne, she made her home in Buckingham Palace, a trend that has apparently stuck, though not on paper. Number 3. A penny dropped from the Empire State Building will kill someone. Do you have an insatiable thirst for murder? Popular wisdom on the internet would say that all you need to do is lure your target to the front of the Empire State Building and drop a penny on them from the top floor. By the time it reaches them, it will have reached speeds capable of killing them instantly. Hey, who are the police going to arrest? Isaac Newton? Fortunately for residents of New York City, the internet has got it wrong again. The small, flat shape of a penny means that when it falls it will be subjected to massive amounts of wind resistance. Unless you know of a way to suck all the air out of New York City and drop the penny into a vacuum, the penny will quickly reach terminal velocity, a constant speed where the penny cannot accelerate anymore. At this speed, a dropped penny may hurt a little but is totally unable to pierce a human skull. Number 2. Big Ben is the name of a clock tower. England, home to the Queen and Reign. You'll also find Big Ben, a huge clock tower that looks over the capital. If you've ever seen a movie or TV show set in London, there's a good chance you saw it in an establishing shot. However, that isn't actually the name of the clock tower. That's a myth repeated so much by tourists that if you repeat it in front of a policeman, they're legally entitled to shoot you. Big Ben is actually the name of the bell inside the tower. The tower itself is called Elizabeth Tower. Number 1. The White House was painted white after the British set fire to it. Legend has it that when the White House was built between 1792 and 1800 it was grey, and the white came later. In 1814, whilst the War of 1812 was still raging, British forces did something totally out of character and set fire to the White House. When the fires had been put out and the building repaired, the White House was repainted white, henceforth to be known as the White House. Part of this story is true. The British did burn down part of the White House in 1814. However, the white part of the White House predates the fire by a good 16 years. It got its iconic paint job as early as 1798 when it was given a coat of whitewash to protect it from the winter weather. More damningly, it was already known as the White House to the British in 1811, years before the fire.